It's likely to bring some damp weather to parts of Wales, the Midlands into southern England. That clears away for Thursday and Friday, turning drier in the south, whilst showers continue in the north.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr.
On radio, they call it the drive time slot, 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. as listeners head home. It's that part of the schedule when the dust of the day's events begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a Brazier angle and a little bit of levity.
That's the question. That's two questions, actually.
That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you, or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Hello and welcome to Headliners, where my comedy panel tonight will consist of Leo Kearse and Sajila Kershi, who'll be going through the newspapers and reviewing them, which means you don't have to buy them. No wonder McColl's has been struggling. But before we get to that, let's get the news.
Good evening, I'm Tamsin Roberts in the GB newsroom. Prince Charles will deliver the speech at the state opening of Parliament tomorrow after it was confirmed the Queen will not attend. It'll be the first time the monarch has not been at the Westminster event in nearly 60 years. In a statement, Buckingham Palace says Her Majesty continues to have mobility problems and, after speaking with her doctors, has reluctantly decided to pull out. The Duke of Cambridge will also be attending in her place. Included in this speech will be government plans to crack down on disruptive guerrilla protests used by campaign groups like Insulate Britain. The public order bill will outlaw tactics like demonstrators gluing themselves to roads or locking onto public transport. It's one of 38 bills being included in Prince Charles's speech to Parliament tomorrow. Sir Keir Starmer says he will step down as Labour leader if he's given a fixed penalty notice by police. It's after an investigation was launched into allegations he broke coronavirus rules at a curry and beer gathering in Durham in April last year. Labour's deputy leader, Angela Rayner, who was at the event, says she will also quit if fined. Both insist no rules were broken. The first group of illegal migrants will be told this week of government plans to send them to Rwanda. The Home Secretary says there will be barriers and hurdles to overcome, but she's determined to remove those with no legal basis to be in the UK. Priti Patel says the government has the power to detain people pending their removal to the East African nation. The first flights are expected to take off in the coming months. DUP leader Sir Geoffrey Donaldson says his party will not form an executive until the UK government takes action over the Northern Ireland Protocol. Just a warning, there are some flashing images in this next footage. Sinn Féin's deputy leader, Michelle O'Neill, says it's Boris Johnson and the EU's responsibility to find solutions to the protocol, but that Northern Ireland will not be held to ransom. The would-be First Minister said the British government and the DUP must accept the result of the Assembly election. It's after Sinn Féin became Stormont's largest party, winning a historic 27 seats last Thursday. A car has crashed into the Prime Minister's house in South London. The black Vauxhall Astra drove into the front garden of the property in Camberwell in the early hours of this morning. The vehicle damaged hedges and a tree and knocked down a small pillar at the front of the house. TV, online and DAB+ radio, this is GB News. Now it's back to headliners.
Hello and welcome to Headliners. We'll be reviewing all that's in the papers, from the cost of living crisis to a curry that has given one man a case of the quits. My panel tonight will include a woman who's the best thing to come out of Reigate since the A25, Sajila Kershi, and a man who puts the tall into intolerance. It's Leo Kearse. Are you all doing well, by the way?
Yeah.
Do you know, I was realising today's one of the news themes is having a curry that you regret, and I think we've all been through that. Any particular stories?
No, but I think we've all had a curry that doesn't matter what religious spectrum you're on, if you're an atheist, suddenly you find God at the Temple de la Toilette the morning after, promising never again.
Yeah.
I think we've all had one of those, right?
I had terrible food poisoning from an oyster once because I got it was reduced in Morrison's, and I got it, but I couldn't open it because, you know, oysters are like jammed shut. But then it like opened up. So I thought, oh, now I can eat it. But apparently when they open up, that means they've gone off because the oyster's actually died and relaxed its grip on the shell.
Yes.
And especially if it's a week after after you bought it. And
it's almost like yellow sticker seafood is not the way forwards.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. I don't do yellow sticker, don't do seafood, because that's like you can't trust it. Or chicken. Chicken's can be a bit iffy. Eat on the same day.
As much as I didn't mean this to turn into a cookery show,
oh, yeah.
It's my fault. I set that up. No. Let's start off with a look at the front pages. We start with the Daily Mail. They go with Starmer accused of piling pressure on police. Also with the story, is Queen's absence today the first step towards a Charles regency? We then go to the Daily Telegraph. Queen to miss state opening of Parliament. Also with the story, UK could join EU outer ring after reforms, says Macron. To the Guardian, which gives us Starmer's gamble. Leader pledges to quit if he's fined over Beergate. Also, PM to push new powers on targeting protesters. The Financial Times has the headline, Starmer challenges Johnson on integrity with vow to quit if fined. The Mirror has the same story as many of them lead with. This is what honour looks like, Mr. Johnson. Is that because he's a sir? The Times goes with Starmer, I will quit if police fine me for beer. Also the story, microaggressions are as bad as overt hatred, NHS workers told. So that'll be news to some people. The Daily Express, PM, I'll strive night and day to level up Britain. They go with a different story for some reason. And then finally to the Daily Star. In a galaxy not so far away, NASA boffin will find ET in just a few years. And those are your headlines. So, Julie, we go to our leading story. Is this the Queen taking it easy in older age, or is she, like many others, disillusioned with Parliament too?
I'd love to think it was the last one. No, the Queen is to miss the state opening of Parliament for the first time in 60 years. She missed it twice before, and that was due to a couple of pregnancies, 1959, 1963, when she was pregnant with the Duke of York and the Earl of Wessex. Is the Earl of Wessex the other child that we don't talk about?
Prince Edward.
Is it Prince
Edward?
Yes, it's Prince Edward. Well, the thing is, I think, bless her, I don't think she's been terribly well since her husband passed. You know, they were such a strong couple, weren't they?
King and Queen.
Sorry?
They're King and Queen.
They're King and Queen, yeah, well, yeah.
Relationship goals.
Relationship, you know, and yeah, they've been together for such a long time. I think, like I said before, she's not going to be around forever, and that's kind of the reality. She has got, the reason why she can't make it is because she's got episodic mobility problems. And so they've decided, that Prince Charles is going to speak instead. And here it is. He's the heir to the throne, and I guess this is going to be a chance to see if he's up to the job. And I have to say, I don't know about you, but I mean, I know you're not necessarily a fan of royals. I am. I like the Queen. I don't know if Charles and Camilla are really kind of cut out. I'd like to see William. Like,
Do you think they should skip if Charles fails this audition? They should just skip and go direct to the next generation, or maybe another prince. They could have Prince Andrew. I thought Prince Andrew was so entertaining in that Newsnight interview that he did.
Yeah, because he's really good with he's got like press, kind of like training and everything.
He can just read the spirit of the nation.
Yeah,
and he
I know.
knows exactly what to say to get himself out of any situation.
Sweat at all.
Doesn't sweat.
Yeah,
That's
no
also
sweat at all. It's just an easy gig. But yeah, basically, we are seeing the Queen having to sort of pull back. And it's just be nice to see it at the Jubilee. But it does beg the question of what's going to happen with the monarchy. Like, she's been an icon and like, oh God, everything's stamps. We're going to have to change the stamps.
That's probably the least of the problems. I'm sure they can change.
I mean, there are other things to worry about, but I'm just saying from a media point of view, that's my concern. The stamps, which they're too expensive anyway, by the way.
How many stamps do you buy?
I buy some.
Yeah,
now I won't anymore because they're like £1 each or something.
But the money as well. All the money's got the Queen on it. So I mean, I don't really want Prince Charles's face on my money. Like, I'd rather have Kate Middleton's face. Then it's like, it's more attractive money.
I want Meghan.
On the money?
I want Meghan.
You might get it on some sort of Bitcoin.
$100 million from Netflix with her face.
I'm going to go curveball. Let's have Meghan.
Can I just challenge?
Everybody hates her.
Can I challenge your position of liking the monarchy but not liking one of them who's next in line? That's the deal. You don't get to choose. That's almost the definition of a monarchy. They're in charge, not you.
Do you know what it is? It's like big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. And do you know what it's all from? It's actually from the Crown. That's what it is. I don't like Charles and the Crown, and I just think, oh, he's a nasty little man, isn't he? And it's really put me off. And Camilla doesn't come across well in the Crown either. So I'm judging everything on the Crown, guys. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Lovely. Let's move across to Tuesday's Sun next. Anna Curry is causing Keir Starmer to feel some uncomfortable heat, Leo.
So this is still dragging on. So remember, Keir Starmer was banging on about Boris and Partygate and all these parties that the Tory party had, after work or during work, and with birthday cakes and wine and all the rest of it. Then it turns out that Keir Starmer, after being so pious and saying that he was following every rule to the letter, a video emerged of him having. Are you taking a photo of me?
Yes, I just thought you looked really good in that colour. That's all.
Right.
And I wanted to show you.
Could I proffer that maybe now's not the time for it?
That happens at gigs sometimes when someone in the front row starts taking your photo. And I've never had it happen to me on TV before.
I just thought, oh, he looks really good in that colour. I'll have to take a photo for him.
Well, thanks.
So sorry.
I look forward to
I mean, don't worry. We also have cameras.
I'm really sorry. I forgot where I was. Sorry, go on.
Anyway,
sorry.
I shall continue. That's another thing that happens at gigs when somebody in the audience tells you to continue. But anyway, Keir Starmer has said if he's found guilty of breaching lockdown rules, because it emerged that he's drinking a beer and he had a curry. I think he had a korma, which, to be honest, for Keir was probably too spicy. But if it turns out he's being investigated by Durham police right now, and if it turns out that it was a party and he has to pay a fine, then he will step down. And Angela Rayner has also said, yeah, I'll step down as well. So, I mean, this could be seen. Some people are seeing this as, he's so brave and he's such an honest, upstanding man. But really, it's a bit of a gamble, and it's also putting a lot of pressure on the police. Who are already, it's Durham police, so they're probably quite Labour-centric, but they already possibly delayed the announcement of the investigation. So, we recently had local elections. They didn't announce the investigation until after the polls had closed, so it wouldn't affect anybody's voting intentions. And then they announced we've got new information. We're going to investigate Keir Starmer's party, and so they're already showing that they're sort of behind the Labour Party. So I think this is a safe gamble for him.
But the Met Police also delayed any further announcements about that investigation before the local elections as well. So that both investigations had a small moratorium.
The Boris investigations have been going for weeks and weeks and weeks. And to be honest, everybody's sick and tired of it. People are bored of it. I can't can't believe Keir thinks that, he's going to, he's trying to expose lies and all the rest of it, expose Boris's wrongdoing. But Boris was doing exactly what we expect Boris to do. We expect him to lie a bit. We expect him to have a party and, break the rules. So, it's not revealing anything new about Boris. But what this does is it shows Keir's weaknesses, which are focusing on mundane rules instead of the big issues. Boris is over in Ukraine getting standing ovations, handing over anti-tank weapons, while Keir's just boring everybody to death, like saying, you broke this regulation, you must pay a fine. No, come on, Keir, give it a break. Try and do something positive.
If I may interject, my dear colleague,
get your camera phone out.
I'd like to say that I think it's because Boris is our leader. Oh, thanks. No, because I could see you. No,
anyway,
I digress. It's because he is the leader, so obviously we don't expect him to break them. And he made the rules, and he broke the rules. And one thing I'm going to add that because we've heard it all before, but is like when they said Keir still insists he broke no rules. The night he was filmed swigging a San Miguel lager in Labour's local constituency office in Durham. San Miguel lager. Suddenly I'm like, oh, that's made him a lot more interesting. Not just any old lager, but San Miguel lager. Yeah. That's made him...
He should have had a bottle of Corona. Come on. He should have...
Keir Starmer, this is typical. Why wasn't it British lager? Should have been a bottle of Carling if that comes in bottles.
That means maybe he's a bit more pro-immigrants and refugee, helping them out. I don't know.
It's been a fun day of seeing people on Twitter, though. I've seen a lot of the response has been... Previously, they were saying, like, Keir Starmer, he was calling for Boris to step down, so surely he should say he steps down. Keir Starmer says he'll step down. How dare he say he'll step down and put pressure on Boris? It's like he couldn't win either way. The Twitter sphere was going to have a problem with him today.
Yeah.
Oh, well. You're right about that korma, though. It's effectively drinking a milkshake. Tuesday's Guardian now, and some advice you'd hope was not needed, Sajila.
So London fire chiefs warn against fires in homes to save heating bills. This is in The Guardian. So a warning's been issued over improvised open fires after a house was set ablaze by a man burning timber to keep warm. The people, they're saying don't do this at home. Of course, people are desperate to keep warm, so they're doing this. But it's not really made clear. But apparently, there's been over 100 of these open log fires. And I don't know about you, but we've got most of my friends have got fireplaces that have been closed up for years because they don't use it. And I remember when I was a kid, we used to have the coalmen come round and drop coal, and we used to have live coal. So if we are going to keep ourselves warm, maybe the government could. I mean, do they still have coal? Is there leftover coal anywhere that we could perhaps use? Open up the fires again.
There is coal under the ground, and we could import it from somewhere like China.
China's got coal.
China's got lots of coal. It's bad quality coal, though. I think they've got to get anthracite from Australia.
Oh, and they make the masks out of it as well. You can get coal masks. Anyway,
Justin Trudeau's party trick.
Oh, nice joke. But yeah, so it's really sad that we're getting to a point where we're basically telling people how. And the thing is, I think on the same show we were talking about somebody had advised people to wear nylon fabrics and stuff to keep warm, but not very good if you're near an open fire because it would just melt.
And one of those 80s shell suits. You're just going to go up like that.
And it just swivels up, doesn't it?
Actually, it's a miracle Jimmy Savile made it to the end of his life without going near a candle, wearing his shell suit and with all his hairspray and his big bouffanty hair.
One spark away from a very different Netflix show.
Yeah.
So, Leo, do you need to be told the advice by experts to not set fire to your home?
Normally, when I want to stay warm, I just douse the couch in petrol, set it on fire, and jump on it. I don't know why do these. Who just put some timber in the middle of their living room and sets fire to it? This is Darwinism in action. I just hope they've got no neighbours upstairs.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
If it's going to get that bad, I think I might join the Girl Guides, but I might be too old. Or maybe I'll be a brown owl because at least they go and have camping and they have fires and I'll get to keep warm. So, but I don't know.
I still think you'd be warmer. I'd see what you mean. That's one place where you could burn stuff, but stay inside and not burn stuff might also be warmer than being outside near a fire. So basically what we're saying is that not only are you not able to afford your bills, you're a bit thick and you've made some silly mistakes. Well, because that's kind of what's coming across. But the stories support people who do this because they don't know how to keep warm. And maybe it's really, the story's not about keeping warm. The fires are caused by people leaving things near open fires in their homes. That's the most common cause of these fires. So actually, although the headline says don't set fire to wood in your home, it's putting stuff near the wood that's on fire that causes the problems. But actually, also, don't do that at home. It seems like a terrible thing.
And also,
to
we're not
advise.
used to having open fires at home anymore, so we don't know how to be around them anymore.
Into the Times now, and we come to you, Leo, to look at some racist and sexist jokes. I'm sure that's not the first time you've had that intro.
No, luckily it's not me this time. So the Scottish Football Writers Association has apologised for racist and sexist jokes at the awards ceremony after one of the speakers, the former lawyer Bill Copeland, used the word nip in a joke, apparently aimed at Celtic's Japanese players, and he made several jokes about women and the term LGBT. So Ailey Barber, who's a sports broadcaster who actually walked out of the room, there were several people who walked out of the room, and she tweeted, she said, "Never felt so unwelcome in the industry I work in than sitting at the Scottish Football Writers Awards. A huge reminder that there is still so much to do in making our game an equal place." I mean, I don't know, I've got a little bit of sympathy for this guy. He might be old and just, you know, he's not been keeping up with current events. His Guardian subscription lapsed. So he was asked to, you know, present at this awards dinner. He hasn't done one since 1987. He gets out his joke book, blows the dust off it, and then all of a sudden all the things he used to say that went down really well aren't going down as well anymore. But yeah, I mean, clearly you can't be making racist jokes, even at a Scottish football dinner, which has got many of the Venn diagram elements for racism in it. I don't know, but they're saying that the female writers, female sports journalists are seizing on it as an example of what happens if there aren't enough female writers. Because apparently out of 95 sports desk staff jobs in Scotland, only 4 are held by women. I mean, what does that tell you? It tells you that women are terrible at writing about sport. That's what it tells me.
There's a gig going next year at Ado if you want to do it. I imagine.
Brilliant. I hope I can do some of my blue stuff.
Any forgiveness from you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it says, you know, after doing the speaker's racist and sexist jokes, so I read that wrong. So I read nip as being the sexist part of the joke. So I thought, oh,
how is it sexist? I mean, men and women have
nips.
Nippes.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, that's by the by. I'm going to sort of interesting sort of twist of like fate, like you've said that side. I'm saying that maybe they should have done their homework and like before they booked this guy, maybe like looked at his reviews, some of his online material, because this is kind of actually quite a common thing where, you know, bookers will book someone, they'll book someone for a wedding or something, and if they book you for a wedding, are you a wedding?
I've done some weddings, yeah.
You have, and they're horrible.
I've ruined some weddings.
Yeah, they're horrible. Weddings are horrible to do.
Sometimes by marrying the woman.
Do you comedy at your own wedding? But you know, you haven't done the research, and they'll complain. Oh my God, we were offended. This happened, that happened. Well, why didn't you do research? You know, kind of book the comic based on what they already do.
Or just don't invite the women sports writers. They seem to be the ones that complain.
Well, on that note,
that's the Leo comment.
It's Tuesday's Mail next, and a whole county can't find a dentist. They got nothing to smile about, which is probably for the best, Sajila.
OK, so this is in the Daily Mail. Entire county can't find an NHS dentist after 2,000 of them quit across the UK last year. Somerset's branded a dental desert with patients in pain footing £1,100 in bills by having to go private. Now, I have to say, I've been struggling to get a dentist appointment. I've throughout the whole pandemic, I've had I wear hearing aids, and they're so desperately need to renewing and tweaking because I'm getting like deafer, and I can't get an appointment. The only one they offered me was the day I was working, and it was
dentists tweak hearing aids.
No, I'm just saying like this is an issue like not just with teeth but with other things as well, with hearing aids, with teeth, with. And so I haven't been able to get a dentist appointment. I always suspected that when they did the little routing thing with the little plugging, the metal thing, that they deliberately like started a little hole so that by the next year you'd be giving them business. And I was convinced that this was a practice. But anyway, people are not being able to see the dentist and they're having to go private because so many dentists are not private, are not NHS anymore. And the dentist shortage is creating a two-tier dental system, which means that there's becoming hidden inequalities. And, people who've got health and, are kind of financially vulnerable aren't able to access the dental care. And, of course, they're reduced to having to either go to A&E or or they're basically pulling their own teeth out with tweezers. We should do that when we were kids. When we were milk teeth, we used to do it with like a little piece of string and put it in the door.
Yeah.
Like do that, yeah.
No, because I mean, I've only seen that in Wild West films. But,
no, but with the milk teeth, they were like little wobbly ones anyway.
Right,
because we just went to the tooth fairy to kind of. Like, so I guess the tooth fairy is your best bet really right now to get your teeth seen. Because...
Or just look after your teeth a bit better. I mean, there's a woman that's interviewed. She's 27 years old. She's got a form of gum disease called gingivitis, and her gums frequently bleed when she brushes her teeth. Stop brushing your teeth with Nutella. Just like look after your teeth. Stay hydrated. Don't drink fizzy drinks. Stay away from sugary stuff, and look after your teeth. If you don't eat like sugar and fizzy drinks, then your teeth are going to be okay. Because fizzy drinks is not just the sugar that rots your teeth. The actual is acid because it's carbonic acid. It's got carbon dioxide dissolved.
But that isn't the only reason. My mum's got like the perfect set of teeth, perfect straight, beautiful white teeth. And she's never been to the dentist, and she needs some attention to her teeth, and so she's waiting to, get her teeth seen. And it is going to become a problem for all of us sooner or later. And not everybody can afford these £1,100 for a bit of dental work. It is harsh, but yeah. So that effectively is something else that we're kind of losing on the NHS, really.
All right. Let's move on now to news of, it's almost related, a doctor, but this is a doctor that you can only see on screen. So pretty much like all doctors these days, Leo.
Oh, yeah, so this is the new Doctor Who. This is Ncuti Gatwa. It looks like it's... I would have assumed it was pronounced Ncuti, but apparently it's pronounced Ncuti. So if I've got that wrong, please tweet me, screaming at me, tell me I'm racist.
Ncuti.
So he's the new Doctor Who, and this comes after a few years when Doctor Who was... I mean, it's always been a pointless show for nerds, but it's been criticised by those nerds for having lost its way. Maybe it's lost its way because you're not 8 years old anymore and you're 53. You should maybe get some age-appropriate stuff to watch. But under the previous showrunner, it was criticised. They want to revamp it, and obviously it's 2022, so they've got Ncuti Gatwa, who is, I mean, Doctor Who's a British character, and this guy's born in Kigali in Rwanda. I mean, what could be more British than that? But no, then he grew up in Scotland. So, and he was in a show called Sex Education, I think. So he's hugely popular. He'll be a great doctor. And there hasn't been, you'd expect. This is like there's all the debate over are we going to have a black James Bond? And there's big backlash to that. And there hasn't been the backlash to this because now all white men are resigned to the fact that we are just not allowed to be starring in things anymore.
But Doctor Who...
Everybody's got to be transgender.
Doctor Who definitely had a good run of white blokes doing it. I mean, in terms of diversity, two of them had the same surname. You had two Bakers in there. So it's not looking like it was really reaching beyond a certain bunch of people. Are you up for playing it next time?
Do you know, I did not watch one episode of the last one, and I think it had got... I mean, this article sort of refers how it's gone a bit tired, the format, and I kind of agree with that. So I'm hoping this will sort of revive it. And I just thought it was interesting that it's a Rwandan actor we've not had before. Rwanda's been in the news quite a lot, and I just wondered, maybe, those who don't want the refugees would like them to go in a TARDIS to Rwanda. I don't know.
It just shows
fit a lot in.
All these left-wing people have been saying, but you can't send illegal immigrants to Rwanda because, it's barbaric and all. It's like, it's not. It's people from Rwanda can become Doctor Who. So, all these left-wing people have been...
But he left Rwanda.
Absolutely decrying Rwanda.
But his family left Rwanda.
Went to Scotland.
Went to Scotland, which, I mean, to be honest, I think I'd rather go to Rwanda.
Well, there you go. One's in, you can go to Rwanda. We'll get you a ticket.
We've reached the end of part one. You will never guess what comes next. It's part two. OK, I'll tell you. We've got the MI5 making up some dodgy lists about kids, some schools making understandable lists about kids, and comedy is therapy. We'll see you after our sponsors.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, And I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Jubes & Co.
On radio, they call it the drive time slot, 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. as listeners head home. It's that part of the schedule when the dust of the day's events begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a Brazier angle and a little bit of levity.
That's the question. That's two questions, actually.
That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Stephen Allen, tonight joined by the only comedians that people don't want to hit yet. It's Sajila Kershi and Leo Kearse. On to Tuesday's Guardian. Parents might like the sound of this then. Police have been spying on children, Sajila.
OK, so this is actually dating back to 1975. So MI5 have asked police to spy on political activities of children. This is an inquiry here. So MI5 asked police chief to collect information about the political activities of school children as young as 14 back in the 1975. And an undercover police unit regularly stored files recording political beliefs of school children, along with photographs of them. And there was one report where there was a 17-year-old who was said to spend a lot of his spare time at his girlfriend's home. He spent a lot of his spare time at his girlfriend's home because he was 17. What do 17-year-old boys want to do? So that's probably what he was doing. So obviously that's some kind of weird crime now.
PlayStation.
Yeah, PlayStation. They didn't have PlayStation in 75, I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
They would have that football thing, like beep, beep,
Atari
beep,
stick in a hoop.
beep, beep, that went really slowly. And then two schoolboys, aged 14 and 16, who were described by the covert officers as effeminate. Right, so, I mean, it's really disturbing because they also took photos of these kids, so obviously without their consent, which, again, back in the 70s, very dodgy now. And the inquiry, which has been headed by retired Judge Sir John Mitting, is examining undercover police officers who spied on 1,000 mainly left-wing political groups. And they also deceived women into sleeping with them, you know. I suppose nothing's really changed.
Yeah, that's just what men do.
That's what men do, yeah. And they basically, MI5 wanted information about older pupils at 14. 14 is still a child. I don't know why they were doing this. And it got so silly that, why they might sort of target these children was they noted, for instance, one young man was monitored because of some badges he was wearing when he passed through Dover that indicated he was opposed to racism.
Oh dear, you better investigate him then.
Right now he'd be the policeman with his trans riot shield.
Let's hang him. So it's like, it's an old inquiry, you know, the inquiry into the old sort of things, but that's kind of spooky because that's obviously kids have all grown up now and they were under surveillance back then.
Yeah. Think there's any worries? I mean, what, like a Bugsy Malone-style uprising? Is that what they were worried about?
Well, I mean, we joke about it, but there have been 13 and 14-year-old terrorids. Just in January of this year, there was a 13-year-old in Darlington who was convicted of terror offences. I don't think he'd planned anything or prepared for anything, but he downloaded manuals. Apparently, a lot of teenagers are getting done for downloading there's terrorist manuals and things like that. So they do it and they don't realise that that's an offence, and then they get nabbed. But yeah, can you imagine like a dossier of the political beliefs of 17-year-olds? I mean, that is going to be the biggest load of nonsense ever. It's going to be full of just absolute like vote for Jeremy Corbyn. You know what I mean? Like buy an electric car. What else? Go vegan. You know, man, you shouldn't be allowed to have a political belief until you're 45.
I mean, this comes right from your heart. That's what I like about this. You're definitely not putting on any of that. You mean it all.
Oh, young people don't know anything. Young people don't know anything. Also, this whole thing about the police at that time were criticised for they infiltrated these left-wing groups, and they posed as left-wing activists and then slept with women, and women are saying that's deceitful. Men lie all the time to sleep with women. Many times I've pretended I'm not a horrible person to sleep with a woman.
Yeah, but you don't
so
lie about. You're not. I mean, that is a very different thing to like. It's like it's like the Tinder swindler. You know, you're just back in the 70s.
Yeah, but surely the thing he did was the swindling people out of money is the issue, not the lying.
Yeah, but they're swindling their emotions.
They didn't have any money.
No, that's what they're swindling. They're swindling their heart. You know, and saying all this stuff and it's not real, and then sleeping with them and still doing the work.
I feel like I've touched a nerve.
Totally unsavory.
What happened to you in 1975, Sajila?
1975.
Someone's got a record of this. Let's move on to Tuesday's Mail next. An idea to stop school truancy. A register. Wow. Are you a fan of this, Leo?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's going to make sense. So apparently truancy has surged during lockdown. It's doubled, in fact. The rate of absenteeism amongst secondary school pupils went from 4.5% before lockdown to 9% post-lockdown. Because, of course, they're all used to staying at home and not doing anything. So why would you want to go back to school when you can sit at home or round at your girlfriend's house if you're 17? So they're going to... The Education Secretary, Nadeem Zawahi, has announced they're going to use a compulsory register to track truancy, and they're going to fine parents, and the fines are going to go to more tackling truancy. Before it was spent on booze and cigarettes for the staff room. Now it's going to tackling more truancy. Great idea.
Thing is, I used to play truant all the time when I was at school. You know, get registered in the morning, and then like you disappear, and then you come back and get registered in the second. And I don't know why I did that, because I was only going to the playground, like and just sort of hanging on the strings. And I think really, they had a register then. They called my mum, to find out like what was wrong. And there is usually something wrong, like why are you bunking off? It isn't like just for fun as well. I mean, I was doing it because I was having such a miserable time at school. It was just really awful. I hated maths. So, and PE. Oh, anyway, but I don't know, maybe...
Either way, you didn't like working things out.
Yeah, I didn't like working things out. That's why I went into creative arts, right? But yeah, I just wonder if there's something more going on. Obviously, post-pandemic is probably a bit different because they got used to... And maybe there should be like a hybrid kind of schooling, perhaps.
It's hybrid school.
Yeah, hybrid.
Half the time it's electric.
No, hybrid. Yeah, hybrid. Yeah,
right,
like half at home, like studying like they were.
Oh yeah, but then we've got to remember that school isn't there to teach kids. It's there to act as a babysitting service, so that parents can get on with their lives and earn some money.
Yeah, parents really don't want them at home again.
No,
they just don't. Yeah, yours is too young, but they don't.
Not yet. And I realise this will be a waste of everyone's 20 seconds, but Leo, do you have any sympathy for people who have trouble getting their kids to school due to the kids having anxiety?
Anxiety?
Yeah.
Why would a kid have anxiety? Also, you're supposed to have anxiety. It's a valid human emotion. Why are we trying to eliminate anxiety? Feel the anxiety, recognise the anxiety, and then get to school and stop being a baby.
What, if they have anxiety because they're being bullied, or,
Then you smash the bully in the face.
Oh, because that
the only thing bullies understand.
It's all right for you, 7 foot tall.
Look what Ukraine's doing to Russia. That's what you need to do to bullies.
You're just about to have a baby.
Get an anti-tank missile.
I'm going to come to you at 15 years, in 15 years' time, and say, right, how are you dealing with this with your child? Because I mean, that's genuinely like...
I'm going to raise my child to be a bully.
That's what it's all about. Right. Moving on to the Times now, and hurrah, there's another reason that muggers want our phones, Sajila.
OK, so, you've got muggers who steal your money, your phone. They used to take your phone and keep the phone. But now what they do is they steal your phone to steal your cryptocurrency. and then, like gentlemen, hand the phone back to you, some of them.
Like gentlemen.
Like, you know, I am sorry, I've taken your phone, I've taken what I needed from it, I hope you don't mind, but I must return it to you now. And so the phone has no, like, value anymore. It's just a cryptocurrency, which is not even visible currency.
Yeah.
I still don't get my head around the whole cryptocurrency. So this, you know, one victim reported being forced to hand over the phone as they ordered a taxi near Liverpool Street Station, and the gang eventually did hand the handset back, but they took £5,000 of his hard... Is it earned money?
It depends. It might be hard. If he's getting a taxi at Liverpool Street, probably not that hard earned.
Another victim was forced to unlock his phone using his fingerprint and then change his security setting, and they stole 28,700, including cryptocurrency.
Oh my God.
Which means they stole real money as well. And then they were advising, like, you wouldn't go around the street like holding £50 notes. In the same way, don't...
Victim blaming. That's victim blaming, isn't it?
Victim blaming.
Saying it's your fault for getting your phone out.
It is interesting. Like, I mean, how do they know who to target? Like, are they looking over people's shoulders to see if they've got, you know, a Coinbase account on their phone and then grabbing the phone? But our phones are basically our gateway to everything financial, our entire lives now.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that's a real vulnerability. And they can put as much encryption on it as they like, but what these criminal gangs do is they get your fingerprint. Same as, you know, if you're detained in Belarus or somewhere like that, it can be as secure as you like. They'll make you put your fingerprint in or make you put your passcode in.
But that's really interesting what you just said, like, how do they know that you've got the cryptocurrency? So they must be doing a little bit, maybe...
They can tell by looking. Have you ever
How can you tell by looking?
If someone's into crypto, they tell you within a second of you walking in.
What do they do? How do they
It's like the new veganism.
Well, there's no time for that. That's it for part 2. Stay with us for part 3. That's the part where the stories go absolutely mental. Wish me luck as I attempt to rein in these two, incurring the wrath of the very real threat of financial penalties from Ofcom. It's going to be a tightrope. See you in 2.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr.
On radio, they call it the drive time slot, 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. as listeners head home. It's that part of the schedule when the dust of the day's events begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a Brazier angle and a little bit of levity.
That's the question. That's 2 questions, actually.
That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday, for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Welcome back to Headliners, the paper review show without the old, boring fuddy-duddies. I'm Stephen Allen, and with me tonight we have the Cannonball for 2022, Sajila Kershi and Leo Kearse. Come to think of it, you're more like the Crankies. Now, moving on to this story. A new scheme for suicidal men will see them driving for hours, missing out on family life and getting hate online, a.k.a. doing stand-up comedy. This one's from The Guardian, Leo.
Yes, there's been a scheme, a course to help people with mental health issues by teaching them comedy techniques and getting them to do stand-up. And it's been so successful that the government is now prescribing it in NHS trusts across the country. So it's great to see the government finding new and inventive ways to waste my taxes. But no, but apparently it's been really successful, and there's models and exercises and games, and the people that have been coming with mental illness, postnatal depression, PTSD and anxiety disorders have really been helped by getting up on stage and doing stand-up. But I mean, I think we all knew this. Stand-up comedy is 90% people with mental illness, postnatal depression, PTSD and anxiety disorders. I think the last thing we need is an influx of more mentally unstable people onto the stand-up circuit. But yeah, there's this seems to be something I can understand it, because it's almost like getting on stage. It's almost like a sort of social bungee jump, because you really do. Especially the first times you do it, you get that pure rush of adrenaline because you're getting up on stage and you're exposing yourself, and then you get off and you're buzzing, for the rest of the night. And then once you're tired, jaded hacks like us, it's not quite as exciting. Just dead behind the eyes, like a shark chewing the carcass of a narwhal, trotting out your jokes that you've been doing since 1996. But yeah, no, it's great to see. Great to see this helping.
Have you ever done one of these gigs for mental health? So another comedian, Susie Bennett, and myself did one, and everyone's talking about the depression and stuff and opening up. So we did our little thing, and we were holding hands afterwards, like, oh God, I never want to see these people again. Like, we just felt really dirty and like to go and eat in our emotions, and we felt even more depressed after the gig.
Really?
Yeah, because it was just like, because it's material that we wouldn't have normally done,
right?
And because normally we do our set, right, and with fun and whatever. And, both of us had to go to sort of other places. So I don't know if it helps the comedians, but if it helps you guys, take it away.
And they do these for school kids as well. My mate Danny O'Brien runs these workshops in Ireland for school kids. So it helps them, kids that are teenagers that are maybe shy or anxious or whatever, helps get them out of their shells and talk.
Yeah, my son did one of the comedy club for kids as well.
All right, cool.
Yeah, he loved it.
In terms of doing the gigs to help people, years ago I did one for a bowel cancer charity, and in the audience it was people with bowel cancer, and we sat down, all the acts, and just went through our set to make sure there was nothing that was going to be problematic, glib, triggering, any of those things. And the first act walked on stage and went, "Hello, are you well?" That was a tense moment. They all went, "Oh, you're at the wrong gig, mate." Let's ease into this one from the Daily Mail. Some people say that a woman is a person with a womb. Well, here comes a womb transplant just to keep things complicated, Leo.
Yeah, so a surgeon in India is going to attempt to transplant a womb into a trans woman. So that's somebody who's born in a male body and then transitions to being a woman, with the view to them getting pregnant. So it's a risky procedure. They've tried to do it before. They take the reproductive organs from a dead woman, a donor patient who's transitioned the other way and had theirs removed, or take it from somebody who's transitioned the other way and had theirs removed. And there's only been one documented case of this being done before, and she died from complications just months later. But this doctor thinks that she can transplant a womb into a trans woman, and then that trans woman can get pregnant and carry a baby in the womb. But it seems to be incredibly dangerous. I mean, the only time they tried it before, the woman died from complications, just months or weeks afterwards. And if you're then putting a human life, if you're putting a baby, gestating a baby in that womb, that's a risk to that baby that hasn't elected for this treatment. It's there as a sort of unwilling participant in it. So I don't know. It seems to me to be there's certainly some moral questions to be asked around this. And it's expensive. So womb transplant costs around £50,000, and one cycle of IVF treatment costs over £5,000. So that's more of my taxes going to that instead of kidney machines or stand-up comedy courses for mentally unstable people.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dr. Narinder Kaushik Frankenstein, basically the clinic in, she does a lot of these operations. And you mentioned the price, 50,000. So it is for the entitled, privileged ones that come over, not for the Indian ones who actually are still kind of like, they are, I would say, like proper oppressed trans folk who cannot afford to have these operations. The operations they've done, they say biological men can't give birth yet, for reasons I think we all know because we all studied biology. And only people who are born female can make eggs, which means that it's not possible for male to female trans women to get pregnant naturally. I just think I know that we had this kind of conversation perhaps like back in when the test tube baby thing happened, and that was seen like it's kind of, you know, a little bit kind of playing God, if you like. But there are plenty of biological women who want children, who would like to have children. And I don't know where I stand on this, but I just think I can see the difference between Indian trans in their own country who can't have this operation. They are oppressed. Again, it is still, I think it's still a financial thing, an imbalance.
OK, so move on to the Telegraph now. Looks like South Korea has found the secret to staying young, Sajila.
Who doesn't want to be younger? Yeah, no surgery, no Botox, no pills, no creams. All you've got to do is elect.
Is that the new Only Fools and Horses thing?
Yeah, all you got to do is basically also South Korea is about to become 1 year younger, and here's why. The incoming president, he's going to shave off a year of the entire population upon entering office. Now, his name is Yoon Suk-yeol. He's going to be inaugurated as the nation's new president on Tuesday. And the first thing he's going to do is to make the entire nation a year younger. And I shall explain how. So over there, they measure like your age, either in Korean age, which is, basically in favour of the widely accepted system over there, or the international age, which is how we do it. So we are born, and a year later we become a year old. Whereas they measure their Korean age is that as you're in your mother's tummy, you are a year, like 9 months. So basically,
so you're born 9 months old.
Yeah, you're born 9 months old. So that's how they. So he's going to get rid of that and just have it like the regular age that we have. So everyone becomes a year younger. And I was thinking, well, what about if you're born early, like you're, what is that called?
Premature.
Premature, yeah.
But this system actually is fairer to premature kids.
Yeah, it's fairer to premature. But then my sister, this is before they induce you. I was induced because I was late, but my sister was born at 10 months. So yeah, I know. My mum's tiny as well,
right.
And she's just like, she broke her hip and everything because she was, such a big, tiny, petite little thing. My sister now compared to me, and so she was a month late. So she's actually a year. You're older, my sister. Sister, you're older.
Do you not feel sorry for someone who was like this close to being the age where they could drink, and all of a sudden,
and then they've got to wait another 9 months. Yeah. And also, what about all those people who lied on their Tinder profiles? And now they're suddenly 9 months, older?
Or younger.
Oh, I guess that's good for them.
Yeah.
Another 9 months at 32.
I get annoyed having to change the clocks twice a year, including the car. So having to change an entire nation's age, the paperwork's beyond me. Daily Star next, and what happened in a lake in Vegas is not about to stay in what happened in a lake in Vegas. Leo.
Yeah, and oh my God, my wife's going to love this. She loves all the real crime documentaries. But basically, there's a drought-hit lake in Vegas, so the water levels are dropping, and they're revealing all these bodies of 70s gangsters who were killed by the mafia and then weighted down with chains and breeze blocks or put in barrels. They found one anyway. And they were trying to work out who it was, and they worked out that he was murdered between the mid-1970s and the early 1980s, based on the shoes they were wearing. But everybody could have just liked, vintage shop thrift. But this is dead exciting. So as the drought continues and the water keeps going down, who knows what we're going to find? We might find Hunter Biden's laptop. Finally, we might find what Bill Clinton was really up to on that island with Jeffrey Epstein.
You reckon it's all down the bottom of there? I think the lesson here is always, if you're going to get killed, do it wearing a Frankie Says Relax T-shirt, just to really mess with their maths. But, I mean, this is telling us the real victim of climate change is the gangsters.
Oh, yeah. All the people that got wasted. We're going to find all those people that got wasted, man. Yeah.
This Only Fools and Horses theme tune's getting worse. All right, Sajila, it's time for you to... is it time for you to stop doing housework?
Oh, right. So, apparently, no reward or recognition, and women should say no to office housework. So, office housework is basically when you do things like make the tea, obviously, but then you do all the, I'll do the collection for so-and-so who's leaving, I'll do the birthday collection, it looks like I'm the one that does that here. And so I'm going to stop because it doesn't get you promoted, it doesn't get you anywhere, and they're saying that it's non-promotable work, men are very good at not avoiding all this, and to make it more balanced, that you guys should do that. So I think you should start now collecting for the birthdays.
Well, men have usually
My birthday's on Wednesday.
Men have usually got better stuff to do. Well, not in Korea, it's not on Wednesday. In Korea, it's 9 months ago.
It's 9 months ago. It's my second birthday. I can celebrate both birthdays. So, yeah, I think that this was really interesting. So 250 hours more a year from just doing this kind of non-promotable housework. So women out there, stop. Don't do any of this anymore.
And that's what the story is, but straight away you went to, and therefore men should do it. I would imagine no one needs to waste time writing cards for people because they've got they've broken a leg or stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Men don't do this stuff because it's pointless stuff. Nobody, all this stuff. You know what else women do that does my nutting? They bring babies into the office. You've all got to look at a baby and pretend it's interesting.
All right,
you know what I mean?
Wait. When his baby comes, if he does not,
I'm not going to bring it into the. Steve didn't bring his baby. I'm not bringing it because we're here at work.
No, I'm telling you now, you're going to bring a baby.
I've literally not brought him in, though.
It's going to happen.
I can very much prove that I'm not going to do that. Why would I bring him in?
Oh, only because of germaloids you won't bring him in.
It was why would I bring him in? He's not going to remember it. No one. I'm just going to get a worse back from carrying on the tube.
That's what you do. So this is my baby. I made a human. I'm
happy with him. I don't need other people to prove.
All those cards, endless cookies and cakes and all that office stuff and sponsoring for stuff. Oh my God, none of it. We don't need any of it.
Okay, well then you've heard it here. They don't need it. So your colleagues don't need it. Don't do it. Don't do it anymore.
Don't do it.
It's unpaid.
Right. This is the scary one. Strap in, everyone. Wish me luck. From The Sun. There's no love like the love between a mother and a son, but you can have too much of a good thing. Remember your Ofcom training, Leo.
Oh yeah. No, I will. I'll deal with this appropriately. Honestly, it's a bit vomit worthy. So basically, this guy, he didn't know who his mum was, and he went on some sort of quest to find his biological mother. Found her, and then had an affair with her. Or he was already seeing her, and then he found out it was his mum. I'm not totally sure, but basically they've said that they're attracted to each other. So that now that they know their biological son and mother, they've continued having sexual intercourse. He's even told his wife that he can only have sex with her if he pretends that she's his mum. So I mean,
how does that even come up?
I think that's an English. thing. But they say it's due to genetic sexual attraction. So this apparently is something that affects people where they don't know they're related to someone, and so the social taboo isn't there. And because they've got the same genes, they're attracted to each other. And they call it GSA. And this seems like almost like a new sexuality. You know how there's a new flag every once in a while? You've got like super straight or you've got whatever, and now we've got GSA, genetic sexual attraction.
I want to stop talking about it. It's making me wretched. Honestly, it makes me so sick. Honestly, it's like she is his mother. She rejects him at birth and then comes back and abuses him. That's what it is. It's disgusting. Honestly, it's so gross. I don't want to see this ever happening
Do you
anywhere.
think it would be better if you fancied your mum who hadn't put you up for adoption?
No.
Just checking.
No, never.
Is that
Not in any scenario whatsoever. Bad woman, bad mum.
Yeah. And also, we need to bring back Jeremy Kyle. Jeremy Kyle is the only man. Actually, he is back. He's on a rival channel. Jeremy Kyle. But he's the one man. Jerry Springer can sort this out.
Yeah. Tuesday's Mirror now, and it's actually something that's filling my fridge. Breast milk. There might be a market for it, Sajila.
Oh, right. So the headline in the Mirror says, "My sister wants my breast milk to make soap for her unborn baby. I said no." So a woman's been left in a predicament. What is happening in the news world? A woman's been left in a difficult predicament after a sister asked to use her breast milk so that she could make soap for her own baby. I didn't know you could make soap from breast milk, quite frankly. Yeah. And then when her sister said no, she called her selfish. And so basically, I get this. Do you know how hard it is? Your wife's probably, like, she nursing.
Yeah, tell the difference between my mum and my wife. That's the last story.
Okay. Do you see how bad that story was? Look how it's messed with my mouth. But yeah, your wife is nursing, and it's really hard to extract milk. And nobody tells you that sometimes it is. You know, when I was expressing, I didn't have the fancy machines and that. It takes ages. And you've only got enough milk for your own baby. There is no spare milk at all, ever.
Supply and demand match, though. So we do have the electric pump, and for some reason it means the supply's gone up, the demand's gone up, and the fridge there are 6 bottles that I don't go near in there.
How long does it keep for?
You can freeze it, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, you can freeze it.
And have you tried it?
No, I did think, should I ever go?
Friends.
No, there's no part of me that thought, I wonder what that
It's
human...
quite sweet.
I'm sure I had some when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Could you have it in a coffee? In a latte?
No, I didn't make a latte.
Because we've got the DeLonghi with a little steam arm, so maybe I should froth it. No?
It could probably, yes. Nice lactate. I didn't make that joke, but anyway.
Well, we've got 30 seconds just to mention this one. The Mirror's got one of the best corrections I've ever seen, Leo.
Yeah, so they said an asteroid bigger than Big Ben was going to crash into Earth's atmosphere. It's actually going to hit Swindon and provide a net benefit to humanity. No, it's going to miss by 3 million miles, which, astronomically speaking, isn't that far. But it's not going to hit us.
Still
so
astronomical. So the headline is, it didn't kill us all. It's not going to hit us. Whew, thank heavens, although now I regret wasting all the money that I've spent.
And all that milk
never
that you
mind.
saved.
Well, thanks very much for joining us. Leo's back tomorrow night, joined by Josh Howie, and they'll be making their way through the papers and giving you the full review and everything you need. See you then.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh.